Hi friends, it's Kristen and I am here today with another spiritual conversation with the help of a little bit of practical tarot magic around self-awareness, about getting curious with what's coming up for us, about how we can come together as a community to see that we're all in this together, we're all going through similar things, and yet we were all on our very individual paths. So let's do it. Ooh, let's start with this. Gratitude. You know, there's something coming up for me. Before I turned on this video, I was seeing what was coming through. And there's something about grounding ourselves, really grounding ourselves and feeling like our feet are planted on the earth. And I think that when we can feel in gratitude for wherever we are in the present, regardless of what transformations are taking place, regardless what overwhelm that we might be feeling because of these transformations, to be able to appreciate where you are right now and what you have that makes you feel secure, safe, wanted. The fact that you're able to have a phone and watch a YouTube video, that there are people that don't have those things and can't do that. So feeling in gratitude for the simple things, for the day-to-day things, for the everyday ordinary that might appear boring, but can actually be quite magical when you ground into it. Let's switch to the tarot. So we have the Five of Coins in reverse. So this is the fighting of the feeling gratitude for all the little things that you have, because often it can feel like not enough. I want this, I really want this promotion. I want to be seen this way by this person. I want this title. I want this label. I've been working hard for this. I deserve it. Why do the dating apps suck and every single person is a jerk? Or, I have people that are constantly texting me on the apps, but nobody actually wants to talk on the phone or meet for a coffee. And yet you might have a really wonderful pool of friends that you can go out and have a drink with. And it's not about giving up on those other things that you want. It's about taking what you have that's available for you and seeing if you can lean into those things to sort of sway you or help you to be in flow more to get where you want to go. There's a lot about divine timing and things taking their due time, which can feel like a drag. It can be like, oh man, it's like I'm aging myself totally, but it's that episode of Sex and the City where Charlotte's like, I've been dating 20 years, where is he? I've been in this job for 20 years, like how have I maxed out? Or those types of situations. Three of Coins in reverse and wanting to be recognized. Truly wanting to be recognized, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be appreciated and seen for all your hard work, for what you're doing, for being a good person, for doing the work on yourself, for being somebody who's conscious of their healing, for being a person that is willing to observe themselves from the outside and really see where your patterns are and acknowledge them and working hard to shift and change things. And yet at the same time feeling stuck because there's always something that you want that's out of your reach or feels out of your reach. And so my question is, do you really want it? Is that something that you still want? And if it is, what is the different approach that could achieve that goal? Abundance has to be created from a core of being, of not having that scarcity mindset sort of locked in or stuck in the nervous system. And we all go through this. It always feels like there's not enough, or I'm the one who's never picked. And to really embody this feeling of I'm worthy or I deserve it. We can say it and we can do all the mantras and we do, but sometimes feeling it, really truly feeling it, can take time. And it requires sometimes a shift in that daily routine. So is there something, going back to this daily routine, that could really ground you? I have a friend who owns a construction company, so he wakes up really early, and making his coffee at like 5 o'clock in the morning is this deep ritual for him. Like, he does the pour over coffee, and it's this whole thing that's very grounding in the morning. So regardless of, I didn't get that job, or I'm not gonna, we didn't get this, or I'm not quite sure where this income is coming from, or how am I gonna pay, all my workers. There's something, he's very successful, but he goes through that. There's something about this morning coffee ritual that he was telling me about that really centers him. It's like a meditation. Meditation doesn't have to be sitting quietly, going blank in the mind. And I know it's very difficult for me. It's very difficult for a lot of us to kind of sit there and be quiet. It's why I got into breath work, and I highly recommend checking out different types of breath work, because by the time you're done with the breath work, it feels like the mind naturally calms down. So that's something that's really coming out, is maybe some of you might want to look into some breath work. You can do gentle breath work. You don't have to do anything that's like, I've had some friends check out breath work and it was a little bit too aggressive. You really can just do a breath work that's very gentle. And sometimes even 5 minutes of that will calm the mind and help get that quiet mind that we all really seek, that kind of cleans the slate when it comes to making decisions, or again, it's like when you're starting your day and everything that you have to do comes rushing in and you're already overwhelmed. It doesn't have to be breath work, but what is a ritual that you can do that maybe necessarily isn't going right to technology, or if it is going to technology, it's finding certain kinds of podcasts, certain types of music, talking to a partner, having, limiting it to certain types of conversations in the morning, not starting out with a checklist right away, or, maybe there's an agreement that even if there was something that came up the day before, the night before, that was a bit of a disagreement, like, let's not start our day. Let's, maybe there's certain things that we kind of, it's with an I love you. And if there isn't a partner there, maybe it's like, I love myself. I love myself. I can feel my body on the bed. It's safe, it's warm, can feel my toes wiggling in the comforter, and it feels so sweet. What are the little things that might seem boring and insignificant that can help ground you? Yeah, baby. Judgment. Reconciliation with the self. You've already, in many ways, gone through a certain rebirthing process. There are these cycles of life, and we're always going through death and rebirth and transformation. And we're always, we go through the cocoon, and then we're in the cocoon and it feels a little raunchy, and we're learning how to fly, and then we're flying. And then, part of personal growth and personal, evolution is being able to ride the tide of this natural cycle that comes in where we're going through this, and being able to ride the softness and the sweetness and that comfort when we're there and we're not in the thick of it, but being able to, flow with, okay, this is where I am right now. I'm in it. And like, I'm in it to win it comes up. Because, that's what personal growth is. There's no way out but through. And there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There truly, really is. It's just a matter of trusting that you know your way. Even if you think you don't know your way because you're on a new path, a new place, there's something intuitively that you can pick up on. There is the wisdom of the knowledge and of the ages of your ancestors, of your lineage, of your own personal lineage that you're creating in this lifetime that knows where you're going. And you may, come across communities or a particular person that there have been some stuff going on with in the past. Maybe they were friends and there was a rift, or there's a change in that community or that environment that wasn't right for you and you took a break, and there might be a return. And in this return, you see your growth. In this return, you see how you've changed, how they've changed, and how those changes work for you now, don't work for you now, or somewhere in between. Excuse me. Right? Because it can be both. It can work for you and not work for you. And right, because you can sit there and you can hold both of that. And it's like, okay, this doesn't work for me to do that part of it, but I can do that. And whoever doesn't get it, and whoever does. And you can't worry about them. They're going through their own stuff. Everyone's going through their own stuff. They just like to pretend that they don't, right? Or there are certain people that just are never going to feel comfortable being vulnerable with you. And so it could be annoying because maybe it looks like they're always trying to like rise up above or be advanced or be the leader, or they've got this going on you. And, they've really got some stuff going on. And they probably have less awareness than you do. Sometimes people that come across as so self-aware or so spiritual or so into their personal growth process, sometimes they're not as much as you think, or they're only getting a piece of it. Because it really takes a lot of honesty and just raw truth to really look at some of the yuckier stuff. And we all do it in our own progression in our own time. And it's okay to be like, I don't want to look at that now. You look at it when you're ready, and they will. And you align, you don't. The more you let go of those situations and people, truly, honestly, I promise you, those situations and people that do align with you will come in. Even if you have to give it a moment. I've been through this myself. They do come in. But you have to make room for it. So 3 of Cups in reverse this is transformation in communities, in friendships, in workplaces, with people, right? Like, who are you not aligned with anymore? And it doesn't, this is the thing. Sometimes we want to judge because there's a certain amount of shame around not being in alignment with something anymore or not at all. And so we kind of want to say this or that about them. And I'm not saying it's not true. They could have done that. They could have said that. They could be that way. But you can simply not want to be in a situation or around people simply because you don't like them and other people can. And it's not for you. And it doesn't have to make them bad. Most of the time they aren't bad. They're just not for you. And that's okay. The Knight of Cups. Dreamy. It's like you're bringing this cup to yourself. It's like you're bringing your own cup of love to yourself. And it's emotional. And life is emotional. And waves are turbulent. And yet you are on solid ground, very slowly making your way to yourself. And by filling your own cup, you are attractive to those whose cup is also filled, or they're on their own path of doing that as well. So it's like people that are doing their personal work, that aren't afraid to be vulnerable with each other, can come together. Let's do one more. So if there was something at the end that needs to be said, something that'll cap this up, that'll complete this, what would it be? So the Queen of Swords in reverse. So this is not being harsh with yourself. You know, we all have traumas, you know, and trauma's on a spectrum. So it doesn't have to be, it could be divorce. It could be an unfortunate childhood. It could be, you know, childhood PTSD. It could be you were bullied. It could be you're really stressed at work all the time, even though you're highly successful. I mean, there's this whole, it could be a combination of things. It can be just this collective overwhelm that we're feeling right now after the pandemic, and everything has sort of like, you know, someone took all the cards and threw them up in the air, and they've landed in these different directions and in a completely different place. And you know, some things seem like they're the same, and some things look like they're the same in an illusion, but they're actually not really the same. Some things we want the same, and they're not going to go back to the same. So not being harsh with yourself, and also not putting up with people being harsh with you. You know, it's one thing to take brutal honesty as an act of love from someone, as hard as it might be to hear, and that's part of life. And I always feel like people that really love us will be honest with us, but that's not this. That is somebody putting their own trauma, PTSD, their wound on you because they can't put it on themselves. And it's one thing to recognize it, but to feel it and have to go through it is a whole nother thing, and you don't have to put up with that. Actually, want to get one more. A little bit of extra advice. Friendship. Crossing paths with the right people. Having deeper relationship with people in your life that are already there. Things take time. It's another thing that really came through for me when I was sitting down to do this video, was that things really do take time. And I know I'm going to raise my hand. I want certain things to go faster, you know, and there's nothing more wonderful with it when you sit down and you meet someone, whether it's friendship, work partnership, romantic partnership, especially romantic partnership, where it's just all happening really fast. And I'm not saying that that's bad. It can be very good. But often we want to be careful of a spark popping up and flaring too fast and then fizzling out. So it's okay to take time. And sometimes people that you were close with, you're not as close with anymore. But the juiciest experiences simmer in the pot. You know, the juiciest stew, the most delicious food. It takes time to cook. And that's very much with relationships. And, you know, I've discovered it for myself recently that, you know, I have some wonderful friendships, and we got, you know, really got along great from the beginning, but over a few years, that trust. Often when we feel a little bit alone or a little bit isolated or wanting to get out more and be around people, you know, it's kind of easy to feel like I don't have enough in my life. I don't have enough social. And it's great to have the periphery people that we have fun with. And it's okay that there are people that you just kind of go to the bar with or do the thing with, and they're that kind of, and that gets you out. But the true, real lovers, and where the commitment comes, regardless what kind of relationship it is, it comes over time. No matter how great it starts, it's with time. So give yourself time, and there's no rushing. And if something doesn't feel right, you know, like I said, sometimes we hang out with people and it's great, and then after a couple of times you get to know them a little bit more, and that's where you know, we have to practice boundaries, and we have to practice that it's okay to want the people in our lives that are right for us. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you've resonated with this, please claim it in the description box, the comments below. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. And if you're so compelled, I would be honored for you to join the community. Have a great day.